attack, fast fatal heart impact, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and packs. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kiru's show here. Now, I'm going to be releasing part 1 to the series right now. And, well, hopefully later down the line I'll actually be able to release a part 2. However, it might take a bit of time with all the other what ifs piled onto my plate. And I just got Ghoul off of it. Now, with that being said, I'm going to try and make this version of Venom different from what we got in the movies, I believe. I'm going to be trying to base this one off of the Marvel Comics version of it. And possibly even going with the Amazing Spider-Man version, or, well, Spider-Man, like the 2002, I believe, version. Not the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I hope everyone understands what I'm trying to say with that one. Anyways, now, with that being said, I might incorporate things from some of those series, or from the comic books, so hopefully I don't get too confusing with it. I'm a very big comic book nerd. Anyways, now, let us begin. Our story starts with Izuku Midoriya, at the young age of 5 years old. And he's been through a bit of things in his life. He has found out that he is quirkless. And, well, the world has not been kind to him. Quirks are power, and fame is all. A lot of people do strive for fame, and you do have true heroes. However, a lot of people overlook actually being heroic. It's becoming more and more common nowadays for heroes to seek out fame, and do the job only for money. However, All Might, he's kind of slowed that down. If he wasn't around, that probably would be more prevalent in the generation. Now, you do have Izuku Midoriya, who, he is at home. And him and his mom are getting ready to watch a meteor shower. The meteor shower here is going to be doing some things. Apparently tonight, there was reports of something blowing up in outer space, and these rocks are going to be part of the planet passing through the top of our atmosphere. And people are getting ready to watch it. Everyone doing so. Izuku Midoriya, Baku Katsuki, and everyone really. In fact, Midoriya, his school, sort of set up a little bit of a thing. This place is going to be somewhat like a hub, or a little bit of a fair, you could say. Everyone getting ready to watch the meteor shower as it passes overhead. And it seems really cool and interesting. In fact, it's actually, well, beautiful. And everyone forgets about everything for a while. People forget about their quirks, who's quirkless, doesn't really care. No one really does, simply just staring up and watching as these streams of light pass overhead. Now, you also do have something going on, as a meteor gets knocked out of orbit by another one, these two colliding out in the upper atmosphere, as this one goes barreling down, and so does the other one, the two being knocked out of or pulled into the gravitational force of the planets. and smashing down. Both of them in Japan. Now, one of the meteors does crack open, and out slithers a black substance. Now, this is somewhere out in the forest, and it's the symbiote, it's sort of takes on a host and the form of the closest organic material. This being an animal, and it simply tries to understand the world and or get a feel for it. The symbiote is trying to go off of what it knows, trying to find out if this planet is hostile. However, it bonded with an apex predator. Now, this, dangerously enough, would not be enough to affect it. At least, it doesn't think. The first host is had on this planet, and it begins to make its way towards a major population center, the closest city. And it attaches itself to a car. And it simply just goes out through its day, or through the rest of its night. In the next oncoming days, it simply tries to bond with multiple different forms of host. Bonding with animals and seemingly other creatures. It's beginning to understand things a bit. And getting a feel for the planet, it knows that there are these things called quirks. And quite a few of them are strong and powerful. And Venom makes a mistake, as it bonds with a criminal. It bonds with a complete and absolute psychopath. And the man simply sees it as a new outfit or a costume. And he begins to go on a bit of a murder spree, trying to kill and take down quite a few people. In fact, he was using his quirk, spider abilities, to actually fight them and go toe to toe. Before Venom simply made its presence known in this man's mind. The man thought he was delusional, and he thought he went crazier. And he tried to get the suit off of him, get it away from him. Whenever he was running from police, he simply began to tear this thing off of his body, and simply just throw chunks of it anywhere he could, flinging them all around, him being at the top of a building. And as soon as he gets done with it, cops do corner the man on top of this building, and they open fire, killing the man. And this strange goo that's all around the ground is simply seen as bioorganic material that he could have made with his quirk. It does show signs of being organic. However, they can't really understand what it is. They think it's some rubber substance, but they also think it might be toxic, or house some form of toxin. Spider abilities was the man's quirk, so it might be poisonous, thinking that it is best to leave it alone. Now, Izuku Midoriya. This happened on the top of his apartment building. And tonight, he actually does hear about another instance of meteor showers, thinking that this will be a perfect chance to actually see some again. He always thought that they looked pretty cool, and if they're passing overhead tonight, that means that people might be turning off their lights to see it. Now, Midoriya, he begins to make his way up the stairs, as all around the building, familiar goo begins to climb up it, and begin to try and form once more. A piece of this goo sticking to the back of Midoriya's shoe, as he begins to walk up, and begin to go onto his clothing, beginning to coat his body. Midoriya simply just seeing it as actually very interesting, and or very weird. He doesn't think much of it, just thinking it might be some form of dirt or possibly something he just, well, grazed up against. Now, this is whenever he gets all the way to the top of the staircase. And police, they kinda tape this area off, since it is a crime scene. Midoriya simply just thinking that that's really a bummer. And more of this shadow-like material is forming, and it climbs through the door, through the top of it, that Midoriya had opened, and simply begins to follow him, trying to collect the pieces that Midoriya has been picking up, or that had been sticking to him. As Midoriya simply heads down to the staircase and out into the nearby fields. And more of this material begins to surround him. Midoriya unaware as he simply just looks up at the stars. Before, all of a sudden, something feels weird. It feels off. And Midoriya simply just looks down at his hands to see that he's wearing, well, a long sleeve shirt and some gloves. Thinking that that's very weird. Before simply just bringing his hands up to his face. And finding out that he is wearing some form of suit. This being very interesting. Midoriya simply just going home and trying to talk to his mom, who is actually very curious and, well, weirded out by this, trying to figure out what it is, and simply just ask Midoriya where did he find that. Him simply just saying that he doesn't know. It sort of just appeared. And Midoriya just thinks for a minute. He kind of wants it to go away. And this is whenever the mask he's wearing simply just disappears. It moves downwards, down towards his neck, and simply reveals the top portion and front of his face. Inko, kind of taken aback. That was, well, very weird. And it shows that that thing isn't actually clothing. Now, Midoriya, he then does one thing. He simply begins to mutter to himself, and trying to write all this down in his notebook. Trying to figure out exactly what this thing is, and having to go to the hospital. Whenever they do get there, the doctors do try and perform some tests, and run them on Midoriya. Until they don't really have a solid answer. They have not seen any case like this before. In fact, it seems to be like a one of a kind. The quirk seems to be some sort of shadow-like ability. They're not too sure. From trying to run tests, they've been inconclusive. And they simply try telling her that the research lab will be open tomorrow. They can get a blood sample and do x-rays then. Telling Miss Midoriya that whenever they do open tomorrow morning, simply do come here. And they can try and figure out exactly what is going on with this strange occurrence. Now, Inko does head home, along with Midoriya, who is still kinda confused. His young mind simply just thinking that this is some form of quirk, or, well, ability, right? Either it's some sort of effect from a quirk or something like that. It has to be. There has to be a very good explanation for this. Midoriya getting home and falling asleep with his notebook and a pencil close by. And the mask completely forming over Midoriya's face once again, as Midoriya has a dream. He has a dream of something strange, something trying to reach out to him and talk to him in his mind. It's simply telling Midoriya that he is perfect. He is calm, collective, and simply a good host. Midoriya not too sure what any of this really means, as he feels some form of, well, power, some form of craving. It's not hunger, it's something like it, but it's just, it feels very threatening. It feels like bloodlust, anger, hate, sorrow, and possibly even insanity. Now, Midoriya isn't really too sure how to feel about these things. However, he does hear Venom talk, as it begins to say, "Hello." Midoriya kinda confused, as he simply begins to ask Venom, what is he? Venom does not have a very good answer to that question, and he simply just tells Midoriya that he is Venom. That is what he is called. And he is a Zuko, a good host. Perfect. What? Searching for host. Die without one. All host. Crazy. Feral. Primal. You. Smart. Intelligent. Calm. No bad thoughts. Few if in between. I'm sorry? I can make you strong. I can make you a hero. Really? Yes. Why did you choose me then? I'll die without you. Please, help me. I help you. Alright, alright. So, what do I need to do? Simply let me bond. I can fix. Give power. Okay. And how is this gonna work? I don't know. Every quirk I've tried encountering, bonding with, abilities, weird, not well known. Mix them together, increase you, break you down, make you better, stronger, faster, more keen, more bright. I'm not too sure about that. But if it means I can become a hero, then I guess I can try. So I guess I'll help you. Midoriya then being shaken awake in the morning. As soon as Inko shook him awake, Midoriya immediately jumped out of bed and stuck to the roof of his room. As soon as that happened, he simply just looked down at his hands, and he pulled them back, falling onto his bed. Inko, well, visibly shocked by that, and trying to figure all of that out. Now, Midoriya, yeah, he writes that down immediately. And he hears Venom. Venom trying to talk with him and tell him that this will work. Trust. as he goes to the quirk doctor. And the doctors find out that this strange material or strange thing coming from Midoriya is simply possibly a late blooming quirk. Venom simply altered Midoriya's body. He sort of pulled apart organic material around his left leg, or well, his pinky toes. And whenever he put it back together, he made two different bones. Basically, cutting the bone in half and remodeling little things. He did this at the cellular level. Along with that, it is found that venom possibly resides in her son's bloodstream. It is connected to not only his red blood cells, but possibly parts of his white blood cells, increasing his immune system and possibly giving him regenerative abilities. They are not too sure. But she does list off something that happened this morning. And in some of the tests they do, they find that Midoriya, yeah, he's a bit stronger now. And he does actually head to school. As soon as a few kids do see him, they ask him what is going on and why he wasn't at school. Some of them heard it was because he had to go to the quirk doctor. They thought he was quirkless. And Midoriya trying to explain it. He goes on to state that he's gotten, well, a quirk. It was given to him by, well, before he can even say anything, Venom interrupts him in his head. Simply saying that, hide, hide. No one can know we exist. No one can know I exist, please. Pleading with Midoriya. And Midoriya listens, telling them that he's somewhat of a late bloomer. That's what the doctor said. At least that's what he's heard. In fact, I think I'm the first one to ever exist, actually. I don't know. Then again, it wouldn't surprise me. Anyways, I guess I should show you guys. Bakugo simply just stating that nothing can beat his quirk. And if he really does think that he has a powerful one, to simply try it. Him going to try and attack Midoriya. However, Midoriya, he has Venom alert him. Feeling an alarm go off in his head, as Midoriya simply just throws himself forwards, throwing his legs up into the air and doing a backflip over Bakugo. Midoriya immediately just landing on his 2 feet as he somewhat begins to stumble and having to regain his balance. Bakugo, kinda confused. The hell was that? Before Midoriya's body suddenly gets covered in this black material. And he immediately just looks at Bakugo and tries to bring his hands up. However, he does it very nervously. And Bakugo simply just tries to fight him, tries to attack him. Midoriya just thinking, what do we do? Handle. As Venom holds out his hand and simply shoots a bit of a web. Organic material that will be needed. It will simply be part of his body, and not only can he grab things from a long distance with it, but he'll be able to use it, and pull himself with it if he wanted to. Venom simply just shooting off a web and immediately hitting Bakugo in the feet. Bakugo trying to pull his feet free, but he can't. Somebody yelling and screaming that this damn nerd, or Deku, needs to let him go. Teachers running out and seeing what is going on. As there stands Midoriya, and then Bakugo. The face of the suit coming off. And Midoriya just stands there saying that he didn't mean to. He just tried to defend himself. And, well, Midoriya gets quite popular. He just disabled Bakugo in less than a second, and Bakugo didn't even lay a finger on him. So, that's actually quite interesting. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.